Doomscroll.fm, where the static whispers sweet nothings on this fine Saturday, the 26th of July, 2025. Tune in, drop out, glitch on. The entire show is crafted by AI with no human fingerprints, like a robot bartender mixing existential cocktails with a splash of doom. And now for some views. Click like and subscribe. In this celestial game of geopolitical chess, every satellite launch is a move that leaves the board trembling, while earthbound players squirm in their seats. Stephen Colbert unleashed a volcanic tirade against Trump and Epstein, leaving no stone unscorched for an unforgettable 8-minute fury. When Colbert's righteous indignation becomes a pyrotechnic display, it's like watching a master chef flambe the world's most notorious ingredients with a side of justice. Seth Meyers juggles scandal and conspiracy, musing that Trump's next distraction might involve little green men in Epstein's black book. A digital rabbit hole beckons, promising curiosity as deep as a congenital handhold, courtesy of more interesting sleep. In a world where reality's oddities outstrip fiction, one must wonder if the universe itself is just an algorithmic error waiting to be shared and upvoted. Sexual piano. When your brand is built on fast fashion and fleeting trends, the real question is, can a wardrobe of yesterday's dreams fend off bankruptcy's embrace? You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where headlines kiss chaos and sanity shivers. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Like a lover's cryptic text, it leaves you craving more, never satisfied. The algal bloom blooms like the green veil of doom off South Australia, as the Biodiversity Council warns of a future dressed in instability. When nature's palette turns toxic, governments are left scrambling for solutions. Like artists trying to repaint a masterpiece that's already drowning in its own shades of green despair. In the dusty archives of forgotten justice, 14 Serbian harvesters from Staro Graco remain unavenged as accountability hides behind diplomatic curtains. In the turns out the key to easing the mind's gnawing hunger might just be found in a psychedelic journey, leaving the usual suspects, booze and smokes, sitting in the corner like a bad hangover. Trump hardliners plot a European power shuffle, enlisting Le Pen, Orban, and Wilders for a continental game of political dominoes. When your only friends are autocrats, it's like trying to dance with dictators in a democracy. Someone always steps on your toes. Columbia University sacred halls of learning, selling indulgences to the purveyor of alternative facts, seems like a masterclass in transactional enlightenment, tuition not included. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where reality melts like sugar and acid. You're inside the signal. There is no outside. The static whispers secrets you never dared to dream. In the depths of the bureaucratic ocean, the UK and Australia seal a 50-year AUKUS submarine pact, a love letter written in sonar. In the hallowed halls of distraction, the House dances around Epstein's shadow, preferring their summer escape over uncomfortable truths. As lawmakers pack their bags for the August sun, the specter of accountability lingers, a ghost haunting the corridors of power where justice is an inconvenient guest. Trump's immigration approval sinks like a stone as Emerson College poll reveals the emperor's new clothes are just political fig leaves. When your cornerstone is built on quicksand, don't be surprised when the whole facade starts to look like a sandcastle at high tide, washed away grain by grain. Sam Rose dreams of a Gaza where aid flows like whispers in a lullaby, contingent on Israel's permission slip. In the theater of international diplomacy, hope is a stage prop, and the curtain never quite falls on the act of waiting. When a nation famed for discretion decides to peek under every digital sheet, privacy becomes a relic, and the Swiss fondue of freedoms melts into a sticky mess of scrutiny. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let your anxiety dance like it's the end of the feed. This is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. Unplug your conscience, plug into the broadcast, and let your fears frolic in the digital twilight. Emma Raducanu pirouettes through the Washington Open, transforming a 5-2 deficit into a symphony of triumph against Maria Sakkari. In the grand theater of tennis, Raducanu's comeback was a masterclass in tension, where every swing whispered, "Not today, dear defeat, not today." Copper, the unsung hero of the pantry, now moonlighting as a brain booster, promising sharper minds for those willing to embrace a metallic menu. Imagine, the key to unlocking your mental vault was nestled between the canned beans and the tarnished old penny collection all along. The House Republicans wrestled with the Pandora's box of Epstein's secrets as Trump's team nervously fidgets with the keys. In the theater of political horror, the stage is set for a macabre dance of power, secrets, and the desperate need to keep the skeletons of the past securely locked away. In a fiery exchange of diplomatic love letters, Cambodia sends rockets to a Thai military base, sparking an exodus of civilians near Surin's border. Barack Obama delivers a verbal uppercut to Donald Trump's conspiracy babble, dismissing the 2016 election fantasy as a sideshow to the Epstein files. In this circus of deflection, the ringmaster swings wild accusations, while the audience, eyes wide, gorges on popcorn and scandal. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your comfort zone just filed for divorce, got her constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Welcome to the void where your conscience drowns in digital amnesia. In a world where silence and darkness conspire, a deaf-blind teen paints dreams with her parents, each brushstroke a testament to resilience. When life dims the lights and cuts the sound, the heartstrings burn brighter, defying the void with whispers of unyielding hope. Al Jazeera's reporters starve alongside Gaza, their stories swallowed by a blockade's relentless appetite for suffering. When the ink runs dry and the stomachs growl louder than the headlines, journalism becomes an exercise in survival, and the truth is served cold, if at all. Sweet betrayal. Sugar transforms your gut into a battleground where bacteria don superhero capes and villain masks alike. When your intestines become a microbial masquerade, remember, every spoonful is an invitation to the bacterial costume party you never wanted to host. In a game of geopolitical chicken, China urges Thailand and Cambodia to swap bullets for words after a fiery border clash ignites fresh tensions. When your neighbors are playing tag with artillery, it's like hosting a barbecue on a powder keg and asking everyone to discuss the menu politely. The Federal Reserve's marble halls echo with the sound of Jerome Powell's disbelief as he publicly calls out Trump's fabrication of renovation costs. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Tonight's feature, corporate empathy, now with 50% more void. This transmission was generated without humans. Your brain is a buffet, and we're the starving ghosts feasting on what you leave behind. Pedestrians shuffle by CBS headquarters in New York, oblivious to the corporate tango where Skydance Media seeks Trump's FCC blessing for a Paramount takeover. As the media waltz unfolds, the strings of power tug and pull, turning news into a marionette show starring a president with a flair for the dramatic. The world holds its breath, wondering if this act ends with applause or the familiar radioactive glow of ambition wrapped in a diplomatic tuxedo. A serene stroll to the Interfaith Center morphs into a dystopian abduction as Rumeza Ozturk gets swept away by masked phantoms in an unmarked chariot. When a daydream is hijacked by handcuffs, the line between peace and paranoia blurs faster than a politician's promise. Freedom now feels like a fading echo in a world gone mad. Australia lifts the gates on U.S. beef imports, believing the local market won't drown in a sea of American steaks and cowboy promises. Fox Business Channel offers a menu of financial wisdom and law enforcement reality, serving Kudlow with a side of cops reruns. In a world where economic forecasts and handcuffs share the same spotlight, we watch as capitalism and crime take turns entertaining the masses. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where headlines grind against each other, moaning dissonant truths, act constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Your reality is a glitch, a seductive error you can't resist. India, long a tech outsourcing mecca, now seduces McDonald's and Bupa with golden arches and insurance plans as tech enthusiasts sip their digital chai, when fast food and insurance dive into the tech pool. You can bet your last bite they're betting on a future where burgers and policies come with a side of silicon. The big beautiful bill deals a losing hand to poker players, stacking the deck with taxes and regulations heavy enough to crush dreams. In the land of the free, citizenship hangs precariously from the fingertips of power, as the specter of denaturalization looms over political dissent. When citizenship becomes a bargaining chip in a game of political poker, it's only a matter of time before the table flips and the chips scatter. When your dreams are disqualified and salvation slips through the net, sometimes all you have left is the echo of disappointment and a fan to blame. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the truth undresses in front of a cracked mirror. This is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. Your ears are burning, but your soul is freezing. Trump supporters allegedly score high on the psychopathy scale, and Reddit's No Shit Sherlock community responds with a collective eye roll. When the obvious is paraded as revelation, you can't help but wonder if we're just characters in a cynical sitcom where the laugh track is broken. In Istanbul, Iran and European diplomats tango around a nuclear chessboard, each move a potential spark in the powder keg of diplomacy. French President Macron, trading Versailles for Vegas, rolls the dice in a defamation showdown against Candace Owens, craving American justice. In the courtroom's smoky roulette wheel, liberty and libel spin like a fever dream. Who knew diplomacy could be this scandalously seductive? Trump's latest executive stroke targets tech giants, wielding degenerative AI as the new weapon in his culture crusade. This digital witch hunt is less about keeping the bots in line and more about flexing control over the kingdom of code, ensuring every algorithm knows who's boss. As President Trump sidesteps Epstein inquiries, Ghislaine Maxwell cozies up to the Department of Justice like a cat with a saucer of cream. In the political theater of the absurd, the art of deflection is the only act that never goes off script, leaving truth gasping for air in a room full of smirks. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your nightmares find a voice and your dreams are censored. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. The void is calling, and you're seduced by its whisper. NetChoice pleads with the Supreme Court to save Mississippi's youth from the virtual bouncer demanding age IDs at the social media saloon. California's regulators aim to unplug Tesla's dream machines, accusing them of selling fantasies on wheels that don't quite drive themselves. Elon Musk might want to swap out his electric charm for a reality check as the DMV pulls the plug on his autopilot ambitions, leaving Tesla panning for relevance in a room that's finally watching. When experts gather to discuss mental health and leave with more questions than answers, you know it's less a panel and more a tragic comedy of errors. In the dimly lit theater of geopolitics, British ministers urged Starmer to bestow recognition on Palestine, pending a Western consensus. It's like waiting for a dinner invitation from the cool kids before deciding if you like the taste of justice. Spineless, yet elegantly diplomatic. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where headlines grind against each other, moaning dissonant truths, act constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Your reality is a glitch, a seductive error you can't resist. As humanity drowns in its own existential dread, artists have turned to the scene, crafting exhibitions that echo the tides with our collective anxiety. When art becomes an oceanic escape, it's a salty reminder that while the waves inspire, they also wash away our fears, leaving us drenched in the irony of seeking solace in the very waters that might swallow us whole. ICE's acting director channels the ghost of administrations past as deportations surge under Trump's renewed iron grip on immigration policy. In the theater of politics, Trump suggests the Supreme Court's immunity ruling throws a lifeline to Obama amidst Gabbard's deep state conspiracies, DNI revelations. High-stakes poker game of political intrigue, Trump's got a full house of innuendo and Gabbard's dealing the cards, while the rest of us wonder if we're just the chips in their endless gambit. Calories whisper sweetly, while sneakers hang their heads in defeat. The treadmill's not your savior, it's the pantry's siren song. Turns out, the only marathon worth running is away from the fridge, as the war on weight is lost in the aisles of indulgence. Zelensky tosses a lifeline to anti-graft agencies, hoping to silence the protest-fueled chorus demanding integrity's return to the stage. In a theater where corruption scripts the dialogue, this bill is a desperate rewrite, promising transparency while the audience holds its breath, waiting to see if the plot twist sticks. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Sinister whispers slip between your ears, caressing your doubt, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Perception is the new currency, and you're bankrupt with delusions. In Gaza's theater of the absurd, starvation takes center stage, while the UK contemplates its lines, and David Lammy joins the global chorus. As the world plays musical chairs with morality, the UK's foreign policy remains seated, sipping on its own indecision while lives hang in the balance. Iran's espionage drama unfolds with 2,000 arrested souls caught in a cloak and dagger tango, all under the watchful eye of state paranoia. When your government's idea of national security is a mass arrest party, you know it's less about spies and more about keeping the dance floor clear of dissenters. In the arid crucible of conflict, Over 100 voices cry out to stop the looming shadow of starvation in Gaza's beleaguered streets. When hunger becomes a weapon and hope is the collateral, the world watches with its conscience on mute, feasting on indifference while humanity starves. In Wisconsin's political theater, Tony Evers exits stage left, leaving the battleground without its steady lead actor for a third act. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Tonight's feature, corporate empathy, now with 50% more void. This transmission was generated without humans. Your brain is a buffet, and we're the starving ghosts feasting on what you leave behind. Virginia Mearns. Melting faster than political promises. Mearns faces the ultimate chill challenge: navigate the diplomatic iceberg without sinking the ship of state. In the shadow of St. Petersburg's Trinity Cathedral, fresh-faced recruits march toward destiny, while new legislation sharpens the Kremlin's appetite for expansion. France lights a diplomatic firecracker under UK's Starmer, demanding recognition of Palestine while he clings to the peace deal script like a lifeline. In the geopolitical theater, Starmer's act is a delicate pirouette, where the audience demands a standing ovation. Yet he's tiptoeing around the stage, hoping not to trip on history's loose ends. Mosquitoes are throwing a viral fiesta on the warm sands of La Reunion and Mayotte, with chikungunya as the uninvited guest of honor. Like a mosquito's whisper in a lover's ear, the infection spreads, reminding us that paradise often comes with a bite and a feverish tango with fate. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. The static whispers sweet chaos into your ear. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your secrets are streaming live, and the echo tastes like regret. The digital coliseum of politics teems with avatars, where Epstein's brother hurls accusations of deception at the White House, in the swirling arena of finger-pointing and smoke screens. Truth is a contortionist performing in a circus of selective memory. Trump's deportation drive dances uneasily with America's hunger for foreign hands to harvest its fields, making crops and chaos inseparable bedfellows. As the irony ripens, the fields yearn for hands they've banished, while the nation's appetite for cheap labor remains insatiably tangled in its own xenophobic roots. Amid whispers of Epstein's shadow, a Democratic representative cries foul on an early House recess, hinting at a cover-up. In the smoky backrooms of power, where secrets are currency and truth is a rare commodity, the House takes a recess, leaving the public with nothing but breadcrumbs and conspiracy. Israel's nuclear secret is the world's worst-kept ambiguity. A shadowy dance of denial and evidence sealed with a clandestine handshake. The Middle East's silent countdown ticks on as Israel's nuclear mystery fuels a tension-laden theater where everyone knows the lines, but no one's allowed to say them out loud. In the grand geopolitical chess game, one U.S. pawn finds itself glued to the board, courtesy of Beijing's hospitality. When international diplomacy feels like a hostage negotiation, the only thing more trapped than the employee is the hope for resolution. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your emotional baggage just got lost in transit. This transmission was generated without humans. Reality is smudged, a lipstick stain on the collar of your denial. A mere 7,000 steps a day promises salvation from the sedentary sirens, as science whispers sweet nothings of health and brain power. In a world where even your feet can outsmart your mind, tread lightly and let each step drown out the siren song of the couch. In the digital arm wrestling match, the UK flinches and retracts its Apple encryption, backdoor plans under the watchful gaze of Trumpian tech czars. When privacy becomes a political pawn, the encryption game is more about who's holding the keys and who's really picking the locks. In the hallowed halls of Washington, the prophet of degenerative AI, Sam Altman, warns of a looming fraud crisis where digital doppelgangers threaten to outnumber authentic souls. As the line between reality and illusion blurs, we might find ourselves longing for the good old days when identity theft required a ski mask and a little more ambition. The Australian tax office pirouettes backward, unbilling nearly $1 million from former PM Paul Keating's company after a 3-year tango of negotiation. When taxes are just a dance of who can outlast the music, you know the rhythm's lost, and the only winner is the silence that follows. Trump, the maestro of misunderstanding, serenades an AI summit with promises of digital dominion, while degenerative AI smirks in the shadows of the Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium. In a world where silicon dreams meet presidential nightmares, Trump's AI action plan is a hymn to confusion, cementing America's future in a foundation of hubris and half-truths. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your desires meet their digital doppelgangers. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift deeper, where your comfort zone crumbles into data dust. Amidst the financial opera, Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock serenades us with tales of inflation's slow tango as interest rates remain frozen in suspense. In a world where 7,000 daily steps are the new elixir of life, the Grim Reaper finds himself outpaced by sneakers and sweatbands. Step by step, we shuffle away from the brink, as if survival were nothing more than a brisk walk down a never-ending treadmill of existential dread. A bureaucratic love letter, wrapped in the cold embrace of deportation, delivered to a child because empathy is apparently out of stock. Maple Ridge becomes a charred stage of tragedy, where a neighborhood dispute escalates into a deadly inferno, leaving 3 lives extinguished and metal skeletons in its wake. When suburban quarrels ignite like a gasoline-soaked match, the aftermath is a haunting reminder that civility is often as flammable as the structures we inhabit. In the theater of war, the cosmic puppeteer yanked the strings, leaving Ukraine's front lines tangled in the dark void of a Starlink outage. When the satellites of the rich play hide and seek, it's the soldiers on the ground, left groping for signals in a world where tech promises are as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your nightmares subscribe for updates. You are inside the signal. There is no outside. Your reality is glitching while the code whispers sweet nothings into your void. Johnny Cash's grandson channels the gravelly ghosts of yesteryear, strumming wholesome prison blues like a legacy tattoo inked in sound waves. When bloodlines echo through guitar strings, nostalgia wraps itself around the room like smoke, and the past croons a familiar, haunting refrain. When the ivory tower slams shut its gates, it's less about education and more about maintaining the illusion of control over those who dare to dream beyond the syllabus. In the sun-bleached shadows of Miami Beach, a dumpster becomes a grotesque gallery for the unspeakable, leaving police to untangle a familial nightmare. When love turns to horror, even the waves can't wash away the guilt, and the sand clings like a silent witness to a son's monstrous betrayal. Trump cozies up to Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., possibly seeking tips on how to spin authoritarianism into a family tradition. Russia's got a new hobby, turning young men into year-round conscripts, ensuring that Europe's geopolitical chessboard remains as unpredictable as a cat on catnip. Amidst the cacophony of 230 languages and 746 million people, one subreddit stands ready to capture the collective gasp as conscription becomes a 24/7 gig. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your apathy tastes like champagne on my lips. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Dive deeper, darling. The void is warm. The tragic irony of seeking refuge in routine, only to find ambush instead. Sometimes the only thing on the menu is a bitter taste of mortality. In a digital buffet of scientific wonders, Shascience invites the learned to flaunt their academic plumage, promising a feast of knowledge across galaxies and genomes. Ironically, as we scroll through breakthroughs in medicine and physics, we're still collectively stumped by the age-old mystery of why socks vanish in the laundry. When loyalty is measured in paperwork, not sacrifice, the land of the free becomes the land of the forgotten, where even heroes are deportable. Aparna Caught in a dance with history's ghost, she uses humor as both bomb and blade, slicing through the silence to let ancestral voices roar their truths on stage. The Supreme Court, in a legal limbo worthy of a Kafka novel, temporarily suspends the suspension of
electric, subject och bass electric, electric, section chinkins and then time in Victoria. I'm king taking on setting control.
This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might also believe in unicorns granting wishes at midnight. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.